Hello, welcome to Gen Z Finance. I'm documenting my financial journey here on YouTube and over on my Instagram at Xennial Finance. So please make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and go follow me over there for more personal finance content. Today, we are in YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget. It is the budgeting software system I use for my personal budget, which is what I usually show you here on this channel. But today we're in a slightly different budget. This is my Xennial Finance budget. So this is my kind of business budget for my channel, my Instagram, and then I also sell some like spreadsheets, which you can always find details in the description box down below for those. This is where I kind of manage all of that. And I thought it'd be interesting to kind of walk you through this budget and also look at some of my reports. So I haven't showed this on my channel before, not because I was trying to hide anything, mostly just because I don't feel like this budget is very well put together and I'm still trying to figure things out with it. I don't feel as confident about this budget as I do with my personal budget and about how I have structured things. So I think that's why I didn't really show y'all before. And also there's not a whole lot to do in this budget. It's not like I'm making a whole lot of money each week or month, but I thought we could do like a kind of 2021 wrap up. But let's just begin with my reports and we can look at my income versus expense reports. So here you can see like my income breakdown. The only thing I'm going to do is just change this time frame from February and start it at March, because this $150 you can see came from like my personal budget. So it's counting as income, but I don't really actually count that as part of like my business income for the year because that just came from my personal budget. It's not like I made any money. It's kind of like the seed or startup fund that I gave myself. We're going to start with March, which is when I made like my first actual income. So you can see for the year of 2021, in total, I made $1,851.11. Now this is gross. So this is before taxes, and this is also before like payment processing fees, which we will get to in a second. But you can see that most of my income came from BMAC, just stands for Buy Me a Coffee. That's where I host my spreadsheets that you can purchase. Like I said, description box down below for more details. So in total, I made just about $1,200. And then you can see here $50 from Buy Me a Coffee Customs. So I had someone reach out to me with a spreadsheet that they had, and they just wanted my help with automating a couple of formulas. I did that for them, and I charged them $50, and that was kind of fun. So I brought in $50 from that, a whole 50 cents from interest. So that's on my business checking account. I just have one checking account since I don't have a lot of money in there. And then finally, $622 from YouTube AdSense. You can see that I'm usually getting paid out like every other month from YouTube, and that's because I average about $50 a month in YouTube AdSense, and so I'll usually get paid like every other month from YouTube. So in total that made $622, and that all added up to the $1,851. So now we get to the expenses. So you can see this first expense line item here is payment processing fees. So this is through Buy Me a Coffee and Stripe. So Buy Me a Coffee has a certain fee. I think it's like 50 cents for each transaction or something. And then Stripe, I believe, has like a 3% fee. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can see in total, I spent $138 on payment processing fees. So I tried to count for them. Here you can see the week of 12/27, I did $8. The week of 12/20 did $3.91. And I am paid through Stripe and Buy Me a Coffee. I am paid through that weekly if I have any sales. But yeah, $138.13. And so this does lower like what my business income is. So I can count this as like a business expense, and I can kind of use that as a deduction to lower what my business income is. At least that's my understanding. I'm not a tax expert, but that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? That would be an expense that would lower what my net business income is. Or not my net, but like the taxable business income. Next, we have taxes. So I've been setting aside about 25% for taxes. So that roughly works out to be about like 10% for federal tax and then like 15% for self-employment tax. And so you can see I have made 2 quarterly tax estimate payments to the IRS. I probably didn't need to do this because I do have like my full-time job, and I already have like $60 a month extra being withheld through my full-time job on top of like the normal taxes that they would take out. I have an additional withholding of $60 a month. So I would probably be fine. I probably wouldn't need to pay these taxes quarterly, but I've just decided to go ahead and do that. And if I get a tax refund like in 2022, like then I get a tax refund. I would rather try to stay on top of my taxes. I honestly would prefer to overpay than underpay. I know that's not everyone's personal preference. I mean, obviously the best solution is you pay pretty much exactly what you need. Like in 2021, I think I owed like $60 in taxes for my 2020 like income. So I was pretty on the nose there. I was pretty close. In a perfect world, I would owe exactly $0 and I'd get $0 back. But if I had to choose, I would much rather pay more than needed and get that refund than pay less and then deal with it later. So in total, for the year, I have put about $457 to taxes. It's probably a little bit more than I actually needed to do based on like my taxable business income. However, I did have some capital gain stuff and some other income through like interest and cash bonuses just in my personal budget that makes my taxable income for the year a little bit higher than it normally would. So I think it's going to even out. I think I'm actually going to get pretty close to my taxes, and I will do a whole video about my taxes. Don't worry when that time comes. Next, we have my fixed expenses. So I started using YouTube Premium in October 2021. It really helps because part of my job is connecting with other content creators and things like that. So I watch a lot of YouTube, and I always try to comment on a lot of other channels and things like that. So $12 a month for YouTube Premium, so I don't have to watch all of the ads, is really worth it. So I only started that in October, so $35.97 for the year. And then I purchased 3 domains for my business, so that was $36 because each domain through like Google is $12 for the year. But those were my fixed expenses. And then I had investment expenses, so I spent $250 on a course. It's actually from misc, and it's on like Excel and Google Sheets training, which if you know me, you might be thinking like, why did you do that? Because I'm already pretty proficient in Excel, but it was like a beginning, intermediate, and advanced course. So I'm working through it all. And there's always like little tricks that you can use for Excel. And sometimes I just need the refresher because there are like pretty simple things that I sometimes forget how to do just because I don't always have to do them. So it was like, it's kind of good to work through it. So I'm still working through that because it's like a lifetime access course. So that was $248. And so that is all of the spending that I have done. So if I take out my taxes, because you cannot deduct taxes, well, you kind of can deduct some of the taxes that you pay, but for the purposes of this, we're going to ignore that. So in total, like I said, my gross income was $1,850, but between the payment fees, the fixed expenses, and the investment expenses, my taxable income for my business, to the best of my knowledge, this is kind of a rough estimate. I am going to have someone who's like an actual tax person look at this, but I'm guesstimating that my actual taxable income from this kind of side hustle will be about $1,400. And then I already paid $457. So if you take 457 divided by 1,400, that means I paid about like 33% for taxes. So I'm probably like overcompensating on the taxes. But like I said, I have some other things going on like my personal budget that it might actually even out, or I might get a tax refund. Like I said, I'm fine with getting a tax refund, especially since this is like my first year with this kind of like side income and stuff. So that is my income for the year and my expenses for the year. And so this is my budget. So it's kind of based on Profit First method, except I haven't actually read the book Profit First. I've mainly picked up things from it from like other people's business budgets. I'll enter like a test expense now, just so you can kind of see it, and we'll say it's $100. And so what I like to do is use these as like calculators. So I'll do $100 times 0.5. Obviously that's 50, but just for the sake of this, 100 times 0.25, and then 100 times 0.05. So that's like the calculators. And so then I would zero out like expenses and start there. So expenses should cover my payment processing fees, and then my fixed, variable, and investment expenses. So anything I want to put money to. So YouTube Premium, I'm saving up for the domain name again. I'm saving up for a hosting site for like a website, and then I'm putting money for tax prep. And then variable expenses, I do want to buy a better mic. I know my sound is not the best. So that is a goal. Probably February of this year, I will invest in a better mic. And then like if I needed video supplies or giveaways or anything like that. So I would just budget out this $50 in there. Then what I would do for taxes is I would zero that back out, put that back to ready to assign. And I would know 10% I put into like the federal income tax, and then 15% I put into like the self-employment tax. And I do base this off of the gross income, at least for now. I might, after seeing how 2021 taxes go, adjust this so that maybe I'm only putting like 20% of my gross income towards taxes. We'll just see how this year goes. So then we get to the compensation thing. So you might have noticed when we looked at my reports, there was no outflow there for compensation for paying myself. And if you've watched any of my personal budgets, you would notice that there as well, that I have never showed an inflow for any money from my business. And that is because I've yet to pay myself. And this is another reason why I haven't wanted to share this budget before, because I don't have a good reason or good excuse for not paying myself. You can see all the way down here, I have this compensation tab. And so what I've been doing through each of the quarters is the money that I would have been paying myself, I have been setting it aside here. So you can see in Q3, based on my earnings, I would have paid myself about $188, Q4 $163, and so far in 2022, $7.60. But I just have yet to actually transfer that money and pay myself. And I don't know why exactly I'm having a trouble doing that. Maybe hopefully by sharing this, like, it can convince me to send this money to myself, because like this is a side business, I should be using the money. So I've just kind of been sitting at, you can see I have about $358 that should be in my personal budget. I have no excuse for that. But yeah, I would put 20%. Right now I have it set up at 20% would be going to compensation for me. And then 5% goes to profit. Now, especially since I'm not really paying myself, I don't really have a great understanding yet of what I want to do for this profit. It's mostly just, it's actually listed under my savings. So I've just been putting 5% under here. It's kind of just reserve right now. Maybe one day I'll like give myself like a bonus or something like that. But right now it's just sitting there under savings. And then you can see I have $300. That's what I kind of want to keep in my business savings. I just felt like that was a good number, especially since my business is kind of really small, and I don't have a lot of expenses with it anyway. That's where like a lot of my early income was going when I started. It took me probably like 4 months to build up to the $300. So that is the example of how I would use this kind of like holding calculator section. So I'm just going to delete test category. So yeah, that is my business budget. And then you also saw like my income and my expenses for the entire year. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment down below. I'd love to talk and chat with you all. And then as always, I hope you all are staying safe and healthy.